Yeah, I mean, you're right in terms of initially, the MOQ was, and we were probably only, well, actually, we had to have a very just on time strategy. So everything was, we would order, and it's awful to say, but we used to air freight quite a lot of our packaging in the early days because we didn't really know how much we needed. We didn't have a demand planner. We have a demand planner now and an inventory manager. So back in the day, it was very much kind of finger in the air. How much packaging do we think we'll need? And then we would air freight it. So we had a phrase in the early days, which is no fly by July. And I'm very pleased to say that we don't very, very rarely air freight packaging anymore, because we've got, we now have, a 6-month safety stock kind of strategy. So we don't need to rush into ordering packaging. We consolidate our orders now. So, as I said, our forecasts are a lot more strategic, and we now, we always fill full containers. We make sure we consolidate even within, the country of origin. We're trying to make sure that the packaging all comes out of, it's not always possible to come out of the same port, but if we've got multiple orders, we'll try and bring it all in at the same time. And silly things like not polybagging everything, and our suppliers do love to polybag everything, and we still have that challenge because and sometimes even if you tell the suppliers, please do not polybag, they will, it all arrives in poly bags, and they obviously want the packaging to arrive in this pristine condition, which is what we want too, but then contract manufacturers don't like that, and I'm sure there might be a few of those on the call today, because they have to individually unwrap everything. So you've got a labor time consequence, and you've also got landfill. All those individual poly bags end up in landfill. So you've got to, and then sometimes you have to accept that there might be the odd chip or a scratch or some imperfection, and so and that's part of our journey as well with our customers, that we're trying to educate them that, sometimes that happens, and we have to accept that that's one of the consequences of trying to be more environmentally friendly. That was really a really lovely philosophical idea. And you got given a QR code, and you were able to print that on your packaging, and you were able to say where this piece of ocean waste plastic was even, picked out of the ocean in this certain part of Indonesia, which was great. But unfortunately, I think there was issues around the quality of the ocean waste plastic and the validation of the quality. So we ended up kind of moving into the more traditional PCR, which I think just had a much more reliable supply chain of. So that was an interesting little dip. We literally dipped our foot in the ocean there. And that was a bit frustrating, but I think that's one of the learnings that I would definitely love to pass on, is that don't be afraid to take those. I mean, we're lucky, I think, because we're a small business, we can literally all get in the room. There might be 4 of us in a room, and we make the decision and we just try it. And we haven't got to, we haven't kind of got to worry too much about, having a big, we're not Nestle or Coca-Cola, where we've got an enormous team that we have to run all these decisions up. So we were able to make these, and we weren't afraid to fail. It didn't work out. We'd had to take the QR code off that bit of packaging, and it took 6 months for that packaging to flush through. But yeah, that was an interesting exercise in trying something new and failing, but not being perturbed by it. Skincare sales have gone crazy over the last few years. There are brands popping up all the time. So I think it is important that brand owners take their responsibilities seriously when it comes to selecting the packaging, and rethinking and reducing and trying to reuse as much as the packaging as they can. I think the move to, I think you've got to come to got to accept that there are limitations, current limitations within the recycling industry. And it's probably very easy for brands to say, well, you know, it's not really recyclable and what, you know, so I won't worry about it until it becomes recyclable. So I think the future for anyone thinking of starting up a beauty brand, or anyone, you know, that's already, you know, an established brand, you need to, I guess, be future-proofing your packaging. So you are making it as recyclable as possible. So you're using materials. I mean, I think in the beauty industry, so much of the beautiful packaging is things like acrylic and, you know, PMMA and PETG, which is beautiful, clear, very heavy, premium feeling bits of packaging, which I'm sure if you go into any beauty retailer, you know exactly, you know, what type of packaging I'm talking about. And at the moment, that is completely not recyclable, and I don't think ever will be. So trying to select, I think trying to come to terms with that kind of balance between, you know, aesthetically looking, appealing, feeling like really good quality, but also, you know, thinking about the end of life and making sure that it can be recycled needs to be a big part of the way you select your packaging. So I was actually talking to our formulator actually just before, and we were talking about how much stability we did in the early days. We were scared. I think we were in the early days, some of our manufacturers were a bit wary about using, you know, some of the sugar canes and the PCRs, and we were very risk averse. You know, for us, our formulas are so important. So we ran full stability on every formula, in every form of packaging, in different levels of PCR. I think we've got about 6 incubators in our lab where we were, you know, we were kind of had them at different temperatures. And I can honestly say we have not seen a single bad reaction to any of the levels of PCR. So I think we kind of overdid it. So don't be kind of put yourself under too much pressure to, I don't know whether you've heard any anecdotal kind of evidence that it does, but if you're buying packaging from you know, a respectable packaging supplier, it should be pretty good. So don't kill yourself with doing loads and loads of stability. And you know, we've just got to really hope that the end, wherever it ends up, it really is getting recycled in the way that they're telling you it is. And I know in the past there's been some questions around that. So, but I'm sure, you know, as the demand just keeps growing, there will be more and more. I think that's the other thing. I think brands just need to constantly be demanding more of their suppliers, and also the kind of people that can also look at end of life solutions. And brands just need to keep the pressure on, because we want to be part of that closed system, and we want to do our bit, and we need everyone else in the system to be doing their bit as well. We're always trying to improve. We're always striving to do better. And sometimes we fail, and sometimes it's not perfect. And don't shy away as a brand. Don't sugarcoat things. Don't greenwash things. Be really honest that, you know, if there is a part of this packaging that is not recyclable, trust that the brand has tried to find something that is. If they haven't, then don't kind of beat them up. And because, you know, yeah, we're a very transparent and honest brand. It's a big part of our DNA, and thankfully most of our consumers really embrace that and you know, trust that. But you know, when we do get it wrong, you know, don't give us such a hard time, and just know that we're always trying to do better.